One. We're live. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Phire Football Radio Show here on October 3rd, 2023. It is Tuesday instead of Wednesday. We had some scheduling conflicts tomorrow, so we pushed it to today. And same time as always, 7 p.m. I'm your host, Matt McGrath, alongside Luigi Capola. We should have Eric Harkins joining us in a bit. He's just getting out of class at Quinnipiac. And hopefully Zach Schmola should be joining us at the end of the show. So first full set of people on the show since the first week, I think.
Yeah.
At some point today. And this is the fourth episode of Phire Football Radio Show for the 2023 NFL season. We will be live on YouTube Live every Wednesday night, Tuesday today, as I mentioned, but Wednesday night following at 7 p.m. to bring the latest news, rumors, and more about America's game and the league we all know and love, the NFL. Week 4 was nuts and a lot of weird and a lot of chaos and a lot of crazy. But we're going to dive right into it as we always do. And it was still fun. And unfortunately, I do have to mention we are just under a quarter of the way through the NFL season following week 4 into week 5. But we're not going to talk about that just yet. Luigi is here with me today. Luigi, what's going on, baby?
How we doing, Matt? Great to be back as always. Love being on the show. Love doing this stuff, chopping it up about ball. We did have some craziness this weekend. I was playing around to golf, I think like yourself, during the majority of the 1 o'clock games, but caught a lot of the replays, a lot of the catch-ups, and did my research, watched some of the 4 o'clocks, watched my Niners take care of business, and then watched the primetime games the past 2 evenings. It's been a great week. You know, we have some interesting stuff to talk about for sure. Some stuff we were definitely not predicting coming into this season, especially so early. And, you know, it's a great time to be a football fan, and it's a great time to talk some ball this evening.
It's always a great time. And yeah, we were not expecting. I mean, if you looked at our preseason predictions, I mean, some of them are in line, but I mean, as well as anyone else's through 4 weeks, it's even hard to tell. I mean, after week 2 and week 3, we said, we need to see more football out of these teams in order to actually give some takes and actually see what we believe in truly versus what was just fantasy before. And I think week 4 gave us a good taste of maybe who's realistic and who's a faker. So yeah, we're going to get right into that, but let's go into the injuries as we always do. Unfortunately, a plethora of big ones. It's just every week here, but the biggest one definitely on this list is Bills cornerback Tre'Davious White tore his Achilles and is out for the season. I know we were texting League of Zest, Mr. Griffin Massing, and I mean, a great Bills win 48-20 over the Dolphins this past week after both teams came into the week looking really good, and the Dolphins maybe even looking better than the Bills. But to come out of that game with a huge win, but then a huge loss on the defensive side of the ball, Luigi, Tre'Davious White is a key cornerstone on that defense.
Absolutely, man. He's just getting back healthy after a number of seasons with injury. You know, he's been in and out of the roster and on and off the field for the majority of the last 2 years. And obviously, you mentioned speaking with our boy Griff, it's been tough ride with that secondary, because when that secondary is playing football healthy, that's one of the best, if not the best secondary in football, with Poyer, Hyde, and White, and then whoever they throw as the other corners in your nickel spot. You know, it's a terrible, terrible loss. I mean, he was very, very effective holding both Waddle and Hill under their yards. He comes up with the unfortunate injury in the third quarter. And, you know, it was just very sad to see a dominant win, like you mentioned, by the Bills. They really took care of business, let it up on the offensive side of the ball, but you hate to see a huge loss in the secondary this early in the year.
Yeah, it's quite unfortunate. And as you mentioned, like, he fought back from that. It was an ACL tear last year and was able to play the end of last season. And, I was talking to a Bills fan yesterday and today, and it's just like, when are they going to get the opportunity to be fully healthy? And I told him realistically in the NFL, that doesn't exist all the time.
Absolutely.
Absolutely not. And it's unfortunate because it is one of their stars. But I mean, you talk about the Bills and they have a ton of stars. So, I mean, this could have happened to, Stephon Diggs, who had 3 touchdowns. Like it's how the cookie crumbles at times. And it's unfortunate that it happened to him. Some other buzz from the Bills in terms of injury. It seems like Von Miller could be poised to come back in a few weeks, which obviously will help with the pass rush. But then the Bills fan I was talking to was saying, we don't need help with pass rush. We have all we need right now. We're doing a great job. We need the corners on the backside who are, depth wise in the DB room are a little bit thin because Jordan Poyer didn't play this week. And, you're just another one injury away from, just having a tough time back there.
Yeah, it's tough when you have stars that are so susceptible to injury in your secondary. Every year, some of these guys are just in and out, like I mentioned. But yeah, you're right. It's the luck of the draw. It's how the season unfolds. Everyone's going to experience injury to some star at some position, and it's going to be unfortunate. And to your buddy's comment, I agree. I mean, their pass rush has been a superb, and that's why their secondary has been so successful through 4 weeks, is because that pass rush is getting there. Their time to the quarterback is one of the lower in the league, and the quarterbacks have been getting pressured and sacked at a consistently high rate. But I will add it will be nice to have Von Miller, and I'm sure that the silver lining is there to have Von Miller come back, a new set of legs, elite set of legs. We might add, it's going to help. But yes, the huge loss in the secondary will not be outweighed by another fresh set of legs coming off the edge. We just hope for the best for the Bills going forward. Hopefully Poyer and Hyde could stay healthy and pick up. Hopefully some of these younger corners can pick up the slack of Tre'Davious White. Maybe a free agent acquisition or a trade may come. I mean, this is year in and year out, Tre'Davious White having an issue, and relying on a guy who's going to have these sorts of issues is going to be the way that it is. And I'm trying to give a good metaphor for it, but you're going to get jabbed in the back a little bit with your cornerback typically going to be hurt, and maybe find a guy out there you could solidify in that one spot and hope Tre'Davious White could get back healthy. I know he's on a nice big contract and it is coming towards its end, but it's going to be important for this team to stay in this Super Bowl window. Now, it's one of the teams with the biggest Super Bowl windows. Obviously, you have Josh Allen. You have young stars around him like James Cook. Dalton Kincaid's been playing pretty well. Stephon Diggs is relatively young. He's getting up there. And then you on the defensive side of the ball, your whole defensive line is first, second, and third round picks from the past 3 or 4 seasons now. And you have Bernard, the linebacker who came in this year and has been playing very well. Milano to a long contract. You have a long Super Bowl window here. You need to make sure you capitalize upon it, and maybe making a replacement with Tre'Davious White is the way to go.
Yeah, we'll see what the Bills do. I mean, obviously they are 3-1 now after the big win over the Dolphins this past week. And I mean, they're leading the division once again. And it's still, though, it's a tough conference, and it's going to come down to playing against number one wide receivers. And obviously the pass rush is going to matter too. And Von Miller coming back will be a big part of that. Patriots, Matthew Judon, their outside pass rusher, and Christian Gonzalez, both to miss indefinite time. Judon with a bicep injury and Christian Gonzalez with a shoulder injury. I mean, arguably, Matthew Judon probably is their best defensive player, but Christian Gonzalez has been playing like their second best defensive player as a rookie.
Yeah, absolutely. These are both terrible, terrible losses. I was hanging with Hark, who's probably going to hop on here in a minute or two, last night watching the game, and the injury report came across the bottom of the screen saying they're both going to be out indefinitely, and just poor Hark's face just dropped. It's tough news to your 2 best defensive players so far this year, and obviously your number 1 pick. And with the 16th pick, the Pats go out and pick Gonzalez, and it's tough to see a rookie go down with a big injury. The Patriots look terrible, and with these injuries, they are certainly not going to look any better. Obviously, they're coming off of Belichick's worst loss of all time, losing by 35 points to the Cowboys this past Sunday, and losing these 2 guys is not going to help them in their future endeavors.
No, absolutely not. I mean, obviously a lot of that had to do on Sunday with the offense, and the offense just turning over the ball, and Mac Jones putting the ball in uncomfortable places for that offense. But then again, it's like, you lose these 2 guys on defense, your best pass rusher, your rookie corner who has been an NFL lockdown corner so far this year. And I mean, they play a tough schedule too. They're in the AFC East as well. We just mentioned the Bills and the Dolphins, who they have yet to play. So it's not going to be easy the rest of the way.
Oh, good Lord. Good grief. And yeah, the majority of the NFC East too. Luckily, they gotten the Eagles out of the way so far this season, but they still got to deal with the Cowboys, or they just dealt with the Cowboys and they didn't deal with them well. And then moving forward, it's not going to be fun. Even that Commanders wide receiver room is going to give you a couple of headaches. So, oh wow, just a tough injury at a tough time so early in the year.
Yeah, and double whammy, you could
Double
say.
whammy.
Yeah,
Double whammy.
Unfortunate that these happen at the same time.
Not to take a horrible jab here, but I kind of have to do it. At least they didn't both get hurt on the tush push, unlike some Giants did this past Sunday night or Monday night, rather.
We're gonna get to them in a bit. Not now. Let's talk about the Steelers. Steelers quarterback Kenny Pickett has a bone bruise and a muscle strain. Luckily, it looks like he avoided an ACL tear, which could have been the issue, but a bone bruise and a muscle strain. They're not sure exactly how much time he's going to miss yet, but I don't know.
Great.
It's not looking good.
We have an interesting situation with the 2-2 Steelers team here where their starting quarterback has not been playing well at all, but he gets hurt. So this is Mitch Trubisky time, I guess.
Is it Mitch Trubisky?
He took over after Pickett left the game this past Sunday.
Okay.
I don't know, man. That offense doesn't look good with who their best quarterback is supposed to be on that field, and they're not going to be looking much better without him off the field. So I don't know, man. That I will say, and we will add that Mike Tomlin did in his presser on Sunday mention that he could see some changes happening this week with the organization and with the roster. So we'll see how that unfolds over the next few days. Obviously, our big news day is typically Wednesday in the NFL. So we have not seen a Matt Canada firing, as most Pittsburgh Steelers fans are rooting for right now. So we'll see how that plays out here. And, I think you need to let him go, cut him loose. They are the only team in the NFL over the past 2 years who have not had a 400-yard offensive game. They are not at all producing on the offensive side of the ball, despite investing in their weapons. You have Pickens and Freiermuth, 2 second-round picks from the last 3 years. Najee Harris, you have a second-round pick. Kenny Pickett, you have your first-round quarterback. You have guys out here who are supposed to be producing at very high levels based on their draft position. And, is it because they're busts? That's typically not the story in Pittsburgh. Mike Tomlin has historically drafted extremely well and very good players who have all had long careers in the NFL. Maybe a page has turned in the Steelers' book. Their draft luck and draft finesse is maybe running out, or is it Matt Canada? Is it the offense that we are being put on every week? We're going to find out at some point, and it seems that breaking point is coming soon here in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it has to do with Matt Canada. We said halfway through last year, we were kind of looking at the same thing, saying, well, this offense is terrible. And a lot of it has to do with, Matt Canada putting Deontay Johnson on, 10-yard outs every single play.
Every play. Out boy.
So, I don't know what dirt that Matt Canada has on Mike Tomlin, but it's got to be something serious to keep him on, as their offensive coordinator for this long.
It's got to be like his son's godfather or something at this point, there's too much going here. I get it. He could be your bestest friend in the entire world, but this is your job at the end of the day. This is your livelihood, and this is not how you're going to get it done, clearly, based on the past 4 weeks and beyond.
Yeah, and this is a lot more people's livelihoods than their own. I mean, Mike Tomlin's job is definitely secure, but ultimately he's got 53 guys on the roster and however many coaches. And, this team year after year just puts out this offense that is so predictable. They don't run the ball well. And that was always, the days of the Steelers.
Butter.
Yeah. If we're within 3 yards of the line to gain, we're going to shove it down your throat and you're not going to be able to do anything about it.
No,
they can't do that.
It's been weak offensive line play for the past 3 years now, almost 3 years now running. And it's been tough. They lost guys like Dave DeCastro, just unfortunately got old. And some of their guys like Pouncey have just left. They've been retired now and rebuilding this offensive line. As for many NFL teams this season and the past 3, rebuilding an offensive line is no easy task. You really lately need to scheme an offensive line more than building an offensive line, because these pass rushers and these D linemen have just become uber talented and freaky at the point of attack that your offensive line stands a significantly lower chance than in the past seasons. And it's been evident here in the Steelers, but I mean, their offensive line isn't giving up pressures and sacks like a lot of these other O-lines, and their run block rates aren't bad either. It's a lack of scheming, and that's really what it comes down to. And lately in the NFL, it's very visible to the fan, especially an avid fan. What's the issue? And clearly, Steelers fans point fingers.
Yeah, rightfully so. And we'll see if the Steelers make a decision here. I think one's going to be going to have to be made. Maybe they give him one more game against the Ravens here to kind of see what he can do, the number 1 team in the AFC North. But it's just frustrating as a Pittsburgh Steelers fan to just see the same thing over and over and over and over again, which I know much of.
Yeah, unfortunately you do. Hark, welcome in, brother.
Oh, Harkins is here.
Happy to be back.
Hello,
go.
Harkins. Welcome back.
Yeah, glad this worked out for us this week.
Absolutely. Welcome in, Hark. We were just going through some of the injuries real quick. Brushed up on the Steelers and did go over the Patriots a little bit here. Maybe some of your thoughts. I know you're fresh on the screen, but maybe some of your thoughts of how the Patriots are going to deal with these injuries coming in here.
It's not good, man. It's not good. 2 guys, literally there are 2 names on our defense. Both of them got hurt. So that it's not great. I mean, our secondary will still be fine, but I don't see our defensive line having much of a push at all, which is not going to be good.
No. It's an unfortunate group of injuries so early in the year.
Yeah. And I mean, it's weird because he said it's a bicep for Judon. And that's like could be played with, but also
could be really bad.
Could be really bad. And if they're going to go 1-15 with him on the field or without off the field, like what's the point?
Mm-hmm.
Get him back for next year when Caleb is suiting up, right, Matt?
Oh, I love the chase for Caleb for everybody in the NFL right now. It's so funny.
Yeah, and it's becoming a big thing for us a lot sooner than we may have initially anticipated.
Yeah.
So only 4 games through, unfortunately. But yeah, you're right. Yeah, Harkins. I mean, we were touching on just the Cowboys game with the Patriots and, that offense and Mac Jones just making those decisions. And, it's weird. I heard something today that I guess I maybe didn't realize that Kraft was on the side of Mac last year and Bill was on the side of Zappy. Is that correct?
Yes, I think that's what I remember is that it was definitely like Bill could have been happy with leaving Mac off the bus wherever they were. Like, yeah. So I don't know. I could see he did say after the game he's not going to bench Mac. Like, but if he
he effectively did though.
he did, but like he said that Mac will still be the starter.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's so tough, man.
At this point, I don't even know. Like, I just want Matt Corral back, honestly. That's where I'm at in the season. Just let Matt go out there and have fun and see what we can do. Because they're not talk. It's insane.
That would be your dream for sure.
That would be my dream. And then I could finally change my lock screen.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I don't know, Hark. I mean, I know Bill does the whole in the press conferences, the whole like sneaky answer where it's like, well, we did what we did because we did it. That type of answer. And I don't know what his answer. I know you don't want Mac to get hurt, but it seemed more so like he was just so bad that they just needed to get him out of there.
Yeah. I think this past week, I think they need one more dud from him, and then I think it's like, all right, dude, you're done. Like, you're done. Because at least Zappy wasn't great, but he's at least shown he's not significantly worse.
And you didn't invest a first-round pick into Bailey Zappe.
Exactly. So
a hard
only
spot.
thing. That's the only thing is that Mac was, a top 10 pick that Bill always misses on for whatever reason, unless you're defender. But
Yeah, no, it's quite unfortunate. But we'll see what they do moving forward here.
yeah.
Give them another week. I think I agree with that.
Yeah.
And kind of see where you go from there. All right, let's bang through some of these other injuries. Not an injury, but a healthy injury. Jonathan Taylor, running back for the Colts, is expected to be activated off the PUP list this week and could be playing on Sunday next to Anthony Richardson. Exciting for Colts fans who have been better than we thought they would. They were down 23-0 against the Rams on Sunday, came back and pushed it to overtime, ended up losing 29-23. But an impressive performance and a comeback for the Colts, which I when I saw that score, I was like, oh, I took the Colts and I was like, oh, it's over. That was a bad pick on me. And then they came back.
They did come back. They bounced back. Richardson had a pretty darn good game in the second half. He was figuring it out. The run game got going for him. It was a good turnaround for a young team. It was great to see if you're a Colts fan. The real question now for Colts fans is Jonathan Taylor actually going to play football for Indianapolis this season? I mean, he's hinted at possibly holding out, not even playing this week, and further past that because of the contract disputes. He's in his third year, which is not even his contract year, which is very, very strange, but he wants out of Indianapolis. And unfortunately, that doesn't typically bode well when you're trying to play football, because if you're not happy, you're not going to be focused. And if you're not focused, you're not going to produce. And if you're not producing, you're not going to play. And then on top of that, if you're not focused, you're going to get hurt. And he's already got this injury history racked up here in these first few seasons in the NFL. Not going to be great if he's not out there in full mental capacity. But if he does come back and he's excited, that run game could be absolutely detrimental to other defenses.
Yeah, I mean, I think they gave him a better reason to come back than we thought they would, before the season started. Anthony Richardson has been pretty decent I know this past week his first half wasn't great, but I mean, he's been pretty decent overall when he's been healthy. So, I mean, they could obviously use him. But also, as you mentioned, other teams could use him as well. But I think I want to dive into what we think. I know there's been some rumblings about what the Colts would want. I think it was a high second or something in that range, which I feel like that makes sense. I don't know.
That's what they spent to get him.
Right.
And he's obviously proved that he could do it in this league at a high level. The injury history is concerning, as being so young. The attitude issues, whether just because of Indianapolis or not, I don't know. But as a GM looking from the outside in, it's probably not the most interesting thing to have with a player that you're trying to acquire. A high second seems like it's got to be it, if not lower. Maybe even just the third. I mean, we've seen the running back position devalued, and a lot of teams already have a very solidified running back one or a really good committee of running backs. So sending him around the league may not necessarily be the move, especially since you've seen Zach Moss produce very well in this offense for the past 2 weeks here. Now, you do get a more electrifying player with Jonathan Taylor who can take some of those 5-yard carries to 20-yard carries, but nevertheless, it's being proven what these GMs and coaches don't want to explicitly say, but have pretty explicitly meant it, is running backs aren't really their big concern. They could put almost anyone there. Now, you have the top tier guys who make, like I said, 5-yard plays turn into 20s. But when you're playing well and you don't want to deal with an attitude, it's not something to scoff at. But I don't know, man. If he wasn't traded for already, without big injuries, yes, we have the Chubb injury that was pretty significant, but they filled that role with Hunt and Ford now. You don't have teams that are really looking for a running back at this point in the season. They are all pretty good. I mean, a team that actually interests me, who's had some significant problems, would be the New York Giants, but Saquon Barkley and Jonathan Taylor would just be a useless backfield when your offensive line can't block for jack. So,
yeah, no, there would be no point in that, and we're not in the realm to give up draft picks for a running back.
No, absolutely not. So it's a very slim chance that he goes anywhere just based on the outlook of the league right now.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen a couple teams. I think the Rams have been in the circle, which I mean, they just like giving up picks for players anyway, so they don't like drafting. So that's just their stance on the league. The Eagles was in there, but DeAndre Swift has been great in their trade, and I mean, eventually, Kenneth Gainwell once he's healthy and such. So yeah, I think you bring up a good point. There's really not much room for Jonathan Taylor to go to other teams. So I mean, unless they can find a suitable team that will give the Colts what they want in terms of picks, I don't foresee him really going anywhere. So I think he should get used to it. I mean, yeah, it's only year 3 and he's already creating a stink. He didn't want to be there, but I think this team is honestly trending in a better direction than we thought heading into the season.
Absolutely.
So we'll see. All right, next injury. T. Higgins, wide receiver for the Bengals, dealing with a rib injury, will try to play through it. We'll see. Bengals have been bad. Very bad. He's had like one good game a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
So,
good game where he caught 2 red zone touchdowns.
Right. So a hurt T. Higgins, along with a potentially, we think, hurt Joe Burrow, doesn't sound like a recipe for success. And an always wide open Jamar Chase, as he has explicitly told the media.
Always.
I don't know about this Bengals team. I mean, the injury doesn't concern me all that much, but this team, I mean, it's just they can't do anything.
No, it's weird. They've like fallen apart in a month. Like I get
quickly.
Yeah, like quickly. I don't know. It's weird because it does seem like it's more than the injury with Joe and like Jamar Chase. I don't know. I feel like Jamar Chase, I didn't pose him as a diva wide receiver, and now he's being like, no, I'm always open. Of course, diva wide receiver is just the same. It means
they always end up being divas once they're good enough.
Yeah, basically. It's funny, part of my take has been talking about it this year. They're like, oh, we don't have any diva wide receivers. Of course, this week they're like, oh, we might have gotten one. We might have one back.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, not many. I mean, I guess A.J. Brown has had his scuffles on the field with Jalen Hurts, and so is Garrett Wilson with Zach Wilson a couple weeks ago, but not in the public media, as we have seen.
Not in the public media.
No.
And not like high level guys either, is more so what they meant. Like, you don't see it from Jefferson really that much. Cooper Kupp, never. Like, the top guys aren't really like that anymore, which is funny.
No, and they try to get Jefferson all the time with the trade buzz. And it's like, dude, like they are, well, I shouldn't say they're not going to get rid of him, because they did get rid of Stephon Diggs before signing him to a long-term deal. Yeah. But I don't foresee it. I mean, if you're as a Vikings fan, that isn't even in your thought process.
No.
And it shouldn't be in the thought process of the organization either.
No, whereas the Bengals will probably have to make a decision at some point. I mean, it'll be Jamar Chase probably, but I don't know.
Over Higgins?
Yeah,
of course.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
But unless he becomes a diva is basically what I mean.
Oh, okay. That's a decent point.
Listen, even if you are crazy diva, he's got too much talent.
Yeah.
He's got too much talent. Oh, we haven't even mentioned the chat. You want to check up on the chat?
Oh, yeah, let's check up on the chat.
All right, Mr. Ryan Loisel welcomes us in. He said the Steelers-Giants game would be the best game of all time. Scott Merrifield is wondering how one gets hurt in a tush-push. Ryan Loisel begs us not to talk about the Steelers. He said, please do not talk about the Steelers. He runs stick more than a 12-year-old playing Madden. I believe that was probably on the basis of the earlier Deontay Johnson comments. Scott Merrifield with a couple retracted messages. Interested to know what those said. And then a Pats fan today suggested that we have a Jones thing. New England and New York are suffering from Jones-itis.
Jones-itis.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are.
That's what happens when you pick the guy with the last name Jones, who was never really that great in college. McCorkle had a track team on his as his wide
Yeah.
receivers. I can't
Yeah.
count him.
Yeah. But neither of us have offensive lines, or neither of them have offensive lines.
Also very true. Your offensive lines are suffering significantly. I will say, in fairness to the Daniel Jones,
Yes.
the Patriots' offensive line has been playing better. Mac just actually can't throw the ball anywhere.
No.
So fairness to Daniel Jones on that, but don't get too excited because Daniel Jones can't throw the ball more than 10 yards down the field either. Because of his offensive line or not, truthfully. He had 2 attempts with 10-plus air yards yesterday, which is absolutely horrendous. You're physically not going to win a football game ever like that. It is not the Navy. We are not the Army. We are not in the 1940s, gentlemen. It is not possible to do that anymore. Oh, wait, one more place, North Haven Football Field. Hark knows.
Yeah. Yeah, let me bang out these 2 other injuries before we dive into the horrible Giants. Steelers tight end Pat Phire moved out 2 to 3 weeks with the hamstring. I guess we got to tie that into Kenny Pickett's injury, but yeah, this doesn't help them either off the field with Phire. Muth, Stafford, quarterback Matthew Stafford for the Rams, dealing with a hip pointer injury. Guarantees he will play. Guaranteed he will play against the Eagles this week.
So, yeah. That just sounds like another recipe for a bad season. He's going to play through a hip pointer because he thinks he needs to win this game, which realistically, as a 2-2 team, you do need to win this football game. But we know how that inevitably ends, especially being Matt Stafford.
Yeah, I mean, especially this happened last year, and we saw a completely different Matt Stafford, and then now he's healthy the first 3.5 games of this year, and completely different Matt Stafford in a positive direction. He plays much better, slinging the ball over the field. Puka Nacua is a Hall of Fame wide receiver, and now he's got a hip pointer, and he's going to try to play through it. And Matt Stafford, I mean, he's a gamer, and I'll give him that. An absolute gamer, but anyone, it's hard to play through injury, and especially against the Eagles this week. And apparently he guarantees it that he's going to play.
Hey, I have no idea what a hip pointer really is. I think it's just a bruise on your hip.
I think so, yeah.
So that doesn't sound that bad. It does sound like if Fletcher Cox puts his shoulder or head into your hip, though, you might die. So that sounds miserable. But that could also happen, hip pointer or no hip pointer. So we will certainly see how that goes. I just want Puka Nacua to keep producing. This guy is on absolute historic pace. It's actually incredible what this guy is doing every week. It's nuts. He is on pace for more yards than Kupp and Megatron, the 2 leading receivers of a single season all time. But there's one silver lining. There's always been one guy throwing those guys the ball, and it's Matt Stafford. He knows how to create masterful seasons for a wide receiver.
Yeah,
that is pretty crazy that it has been
always Stafford, man.
The 2 best seasons.
Always Stafford.
Imagine if Stafford ever had a defense. Oh wait, they did win a Super Bowl. Never mind. He did.
They did. They got one, and
they got one. I always
ever again.
I'm just so used to always saying that I forget he actually won a Super Bowl now.
He did. He pulled one out. He pulled one out of the hat. He did.
Yes, right under our nose, Eric.
Yep.
Over the Bengals, who are now terrible.
Yeah.
Yes. All is restored in the world. The 2 Super Bowl teams for 2 years ago are garbage.
Yeah, quite a league, quite the way that things can change. Puka Nacua has been great. Who is the Rams' backup quarterback?
Sean Wolford.
Sean Wolford would be playing in place of Matthew Stafford.
Or Stetson Bennett if he returns from his little medical leave.
Yeah,
the youngest player in the league. Stetson Bennett.
Youngest by years, baby. He's got that young mentality.
Yeah, the youngest quarterback, most lively man in the NFL. Okay, we got through our major injuries. Unfortunate, some out for the year and some to miss indefinite time, but hopefully they can get back healthy and be back in the league to play. Topics of talk, we touched on this a little bit. I guess we have to go into the Giants and just discuss their woes. You want to wait on that?
Yeah, Mr. Pisani will be joining us. Then we could talk Giants.
All right, we can wait on that. All right, the top dogs through 4 games in 4 weeks. Eagles and 49ers both remain undefeated at 4-0. Eagles have been kind of skating by in a way in some of these games. 49ers have been pretty dominant in all of them for the most part, other than that Rams game. That was the closest one, and that was a touchdown win. Luigi, I mean, McCaffrey's, even when one player doesn't do anything, 3 other players figure out a way to carry them the rest of the way.
It's pretty nice.
Yeah, it would be nice.
It's pretty nice, man. Everyone watches. You see McCaffrey. He's going to score a touchdown every week. You have Ayuk. He's going to go over 100 yards. Debo didn't do much this week, but he didn't need to coming off of an injury. Kittle's just there. He's having a good time blocking, catching only a couple passes a week just to keep himself alive.
He had 1 catch this week.
Yeah, he doesn't need to do very much when we're producing the way we're producing. And then the defensive side, come on. We're averaging 31.5 points per game and only giving up 14.5 a game. You're like doing that, you're going to win games and you're going to blow some teams out of the water like we've been doing. It's pretty nice, man. Defense looks super, super good. Everyone is healthy at the moment, knock on wood. I mean, Ayuk missed 2 weeks, but, you're going to have those woes, but man, they are the best team in football right now. And there is nothing that should stop this team other than itself. Really. Like I look around the league, Dolphins, they get scary, but then they could lose as well. Their defense plays so up and down. Some weeks they're here, some weeks they're there. The Bills are a very much similar story, except their offense is more of that up and down. Then you look through our own division, or through our own conference, rather, with the Eagles. They've looked shaky. An overtime win this week against the Commanders was not exactly what you're hoping for if you're an Eagles fan. And then a close game against the Patriots in week 2. They definitely look vulnerable here. But really, I worry about one team and one team only. Luckily, we would never have to play them until the very last game, and they may have the biggest superstar in the world on their sideline, but I have 6 of the best football players to ever play the game on my side, so I think I'm going to take that. Yes, very bold. Christian McCaffrey, Trent Williams, George Kittle, Fred Warner, Nick Bosa, and I predict Talanoa Hufanga, when it's said and done, will be one of the better safeties to ever play the game, but we don't need to get into
all right.
I was going to ask you, who's the biggest star on the Chiefs sideline?
Oh, Taylor Swift.
Okay, good. I just wanted to make
come on.
Just wanted to make
that's not 2 weeks we've talked about her.
I was going to say, I wasn't sure if you guys already went through your allotted.
What's going on?
What?
You brought it up this week.
You want to talk about T Swift?
Well, no, I wasn't sure if you guys got through your 10 minutes that the NFL makes us all use now to talk.
Yes, this post is sponsored by the NFL. We love Taylor Swift. I love Travis Kelce. I love Donna Kelce. I love the Kelces. Give me more NFL content. Nom. Zach Wilson is better than Patrick Mahomes. Always remember that.
Always remember that. All right, good. Now we can move on. We hit Taylor Swift.
Yeah,
thank you, Roger Goodell, for my $1.50 for my work.
Our NFL and Taylor Swift collaboration ad.
There like when Nike and Cactus Jack collab, it's just the same thing, Taylor Swift in the NFL. Why not?
Yeah, I mean, they're going full-fledged. I mean, I'd be surprised if she's not the halftime performer next year.
That's it. So Hark said that they should replace Usher with her.
I mean, that's...
I'm saying there's going to be a petition Super Bowl week when they realize it's not actually her, and they're going to be like, wait, what? Like, she's going to be there. She might as well.
What has the script been all about? What have I been waiting for?
Usher tears his ACL in warm-ups of the pregame of the halftime show. Taylor Swift has to step up and do her Eras show during halftime. You know what, in things I like to see, at least, watching some of the plethora of box camera that we have now, because there's constantly 3 cameras pointed at her, it at least seems like she's truly like rooting for Travis Kelce. She's having a good time at the games. She's bringing her friends out. It's good. I'm glad for her, and she's getting this experience and making so much money. Do you know how many Swelsey jerseys they are selling right now.
Swelsey. I haven't even heard of
it's
those
a
yet.
sparkly Taylor Swift shirt with 87 on the back, and Swelsey, Swelce is the name. Yeah. They're already selling like hotcakes.
Well, did you guys see the meme that it was Kelsey Hurts Swift? Chasing this
The script is already written.
It's already written.
The script is always written.
It always is.
All right. Well, good thing that we got over our Taylor Swift segment
I just
for
wanted
today.
to make sure.
Yeah. Thanks, Hark. Thanks for bringing it in.
Okay.
All right. We were talking about the 49ers. Yeah. 49ers
Yes.
have been great. I mean, they've been dominant in every single fashion. I mean, I feel like we've seen this every year, and it's kind of the reason why we thought they would be good again this year. And they've honestly gotten better because Purdy's been healthy. Luigi, what is it? 13 in a row? Is that
14,
what it is?
but who's counting?
Well, we are counting 14 in a row, regular season, correct? Or 10 in a row. Yeah. 10 at the end of last year. And then, 4 this year. And then if you could count, you could count the playoffs as 2-1 last year.
Yeah, 2-1 in the playoffs. He as a starter, he is just an absolute freak so far, being 16-1 and his first 17 games. He's now played his first NFL season's worth of games. His completion percentage is at the top. His passer ratings at the top. I mean, his yards, touchdowns aren't crazy high, but they don't need to with this offense. And his INTs are one of the lower in the league, which is just my favorite part about him, truthfully.
Yeah, he's taking care of the ball. I mean, obviously, he has great protection around him. And when you can dump it off to Christian McCaffrey, he'll take it the rest of the way. So, I mean, that's the offense, though. It's your game manager, and Jimmy G was able to do it. Brock Purdy looks good, if not as good, if not better in this offense than Jimmy G did look. So, I mean, it obviously comes down to the playoffs, and we're only 4 games through, and you want to keep winning. They do face their toughest battle of the season so far in the Dallas Cowboys. Luckily, it's at home for them on Sunday Night Football. They're 3.5-point favorites against the Cowboys, and Jerry Jones has already said that, we're playing the best team in the NFL. So,
yeah, they are. But we should switch up and talk about everyone's favorite team. All hail the New York Giants.
I don't want to talk about that.
And welcoming in our friend, Mr. Ant. He's already
fist clenched.
Oh boy, it's a different week. It's a different week than the last time I called in.
Oh, geez.
Frustrating.
Oh, how are we, Antonio? Good to see you on the show.
Yes, always good.
Welcome.
Always good. Yeah. Well, first I would like to hear your opinions, and then I'll say mine.
All right. Well, I'll go. I'll let Hark talk, and then you and Matt can play the violin together.
Be upset together.
I think it comes down to one thing. Very, very simple one thing, and it's this offensive line. Your defense looked pretty solid last night. You only gave up 2 scores. Even against the Niners and in the Cardinals games, you guys have had some really good quarters of football on the defensive side of the ball. That's not your issue right now. You have a good pass rush. You have a good run stop. Your DBs are playing all right ball. They could definitely be playing better, but your offensive line is absolutely nowhere to be found. Andrew Thomas needs to get back onto the football field right now, and some of these guys need to mature very, very quickly, or else nothing's going to change.
Yeah, I think Luigi hit on all of that. I mean, I'm not going to lie, I haven't watched a ton of football. Of course, Giants I've watched actually probably the most of anyone just because they played on primetime.
3 out of 4 games on primetime.
Yeah.
I mean, for whatever freaking reason, dude.
We were talking about it last night. You guys are the Broncos of this
We
year.
are the Broncos of this year.
We're never going to get prime time again. It's over.
Oh,
And
God.
I
you-
hope not.
next time.
You just got to hope you start getting flexed out of everything. Is there any games left, or are you guys pretty much done?
Oh
with it?
yeah, dude. We play our first 1:00 game against the Dolphins this week in week 5. First 1:00 game of the season.
Game? Oh,
Yes, it
my
was.
God.
And then in week 6, we play as of now. I hope they flex this, but I don't know if they will because I looked it up actually today because I was concerned about this. Weeks 5 through 10, the NFL can only flex two times, I guess, across those weeks. So they're not allowed to. They pick 2 different games, and I don't think this game that I'm going to tell you is the worst one probably out of all of them. They play the Bills on Sunday night in week 6. in Buffalo. So, I mean, it's a terrible game for the Giants, but in terms of the NFL, it's a big market for Buffalo because they're good. And then New York always brings the market in general. So 2 New York teams, they're not going to take them off primetime. Weeks 11 through the end of the season, you can flex however much you want.
Yeah.
So that's what I found out today.
All right, that's good. Now that we've got that ironed out, I feel a little bit better about the Giants coming forward. But the offensive line stops. It's just like, and you can't do anything about that. Like, it's just like you're either, I don't know, because it just fucks everything up badly.
Everybody gets screwed.
Yeah. Like,
all right, boys.
Good at their jobs.
All right, Antonio, go ahead.
I agree. The offensive line was pitiful, and it was most unfortunate when you would hear them talk about the fact that it's not like this is a new problem. They've used a lot of draft picks and a lot of money to fix this problem, and we're supposed to have like this mature offensive line, and it's one of the worst in the leagues right now. And he's making Daniel Jones look bad. And I'm still going to double down on Danny. I'm not done with Danny yet. Everyone was giving him shade this morning and last night, and I can't stand it. I don't think it's fair. I think Brian Dable looked like a bitch the way he was yelling at Daniel last night, like understandably upset, but like there was clearly a lot more things going on than just the quarterback making a couple mistakes. Plus, he was hit in that last interception, like clearly under pressure. How did he do? 2? He had 2 interceptions last night, or 3?
Yeah, 2
picks.
Fourth quarter interceptions.
The first one was unfortunate. I was looking at the team stats, and the Seahawks did have more total yards and passing yards, but the fact of the matter is that we had 74 plays, they're 51. And the time possession was almost 12 minutes longer. So we had the ball most of the game and had 3 points. So
yeah, it's been bad. We've been outscored 64-3 at home in 2 games. It's this 4-game stretch. I mean, I said to Luigi after week 1, like I've seen a lot of bad Giants football, and that first Cowboys game was one of the worst singular games I have ever seen. This is definitely one of the worst 4-game stretches I've seen. Maybe it'll be one of the worst 6-game stretches I have seen. And we have seen the Giants go 0-5, 0-6 to start a season, lose become 0-2 in like 8 out of 9 straight seasons. It's been bad. And I mean, this offensive line is by far the worst one I've ever seen. Daniel Jones was sacked 44 times last season. He's already been sacked 22 in 4 games. In a quarter of a season, he's already been sacked.
There's your story.
Half of that amount. Yeah. I mean, there's the story. And I mean, I won't defend Daniel Jones to the absolute wall. I don't think he's the main issue. Is he a problem in some sense? Yes. But I think it's a big part of the offensive line just not giving him any protection, and his whole internal clock is off. His whole process is off. He doesn't know what to do with the football because they're coming from everywhere, and his head has to be on a swivel at all times. So it's tough.
I wish we had a counter of the amount of times on this show we've said Daniel Jones is not the problem. He might not be great, but he's not the problem. That we've said that so many times.
So many times.
Show. It's ridiculous.
We had $1 for every time. We'd be so wealthy at this point.
We'd be
well, I just wonder too, by the time he gets to the red zone, if he's just absolutely gassed. I mean, he's running the ball more than the rest of his players, and he's throwing the ball. He's leading them all the way down the field, and then makes a stupid decision or takes a bad hit, throws an interception. And I said to my roommate last night during that first drive, I was like, this is looking just like the first game of the season. Like, we had such a great start, and then boom, it flips on us, and game now is out of our hands and never came back with it. So sucks. Really sucks.
It does suck. I mean, it's quite unfortunate they're 1-3. I mean, ultimately looking back on the Cardinals game, they could have been 0-4. So like they're lucky to have won that game. And you look back at that second half and it's like, oh my God, what did they do? And I think that might have given us false hope. But then again, in the 49ers game, like me and Luigi talked about it last week, in the first half, or at least the first 3 quarters, like they were in it. And the defense, as Luigi was talking about, like has not played that bad. There's Noah Fant 50-yard touchdown, tiptoeing on the sideline. You got to make at least an effort to push him out of bounds or go for his legs. They've been bad tackling the ball, and they have not, even though they haven't really given up that many points, have not turned over the ball anywhere. So the offense really hasn't had a short field to work with whatsoever. And not that would change anything, but go ahead.
They kept us in the game for sure, and they gave us opportunity to the offense.
They 100% did. And it's just a perplexing scenario because it's like we know Daniel Jones is not a Hall of Fame quarterback, and he's probably like he might not, and he probably won't lead us realistically to a Super Bowl. But it's like you can't like there's so many other blaring problems with this team that, I mean, unless we get the number 1 pick next season, you can't be like, all right, yeah, we're for sure taking a quarterback. So it's tough.
I just wonder because we still have most of our divisional games yet. We haven't even seen
the Eagles yet.
Yeah.
We have the Cowboys once again. We haven't played the Commanders. The schedule is hard, man. It's impossible almost. Like I was looking at it today and I was like, I mean, maybe with the team we have currently, we get 4 wins. Like we might go 4-13 realistically. I mean, it's just there's no optimism at this point.
I hated seeing all the Seahawks fans down on the field last night. It reminded me of the Broncos when we went to see them. What was that, 2 years ago?
Yeah, it was 2 years ago.
And
Yeah.
People were leaving MetLife with like at the end of the third quarter.
Yeah.
Because we've seen this so many times. We know how it ends, Antonio. We know how it ends. And they, for whatever reason, they can't do well at home. They scored 3 points, and it was a 55-yard field goal. So
It's the GOAT, Gano.
the GOAT, Gano
Has
is the
been
GOAT.
and is been our best player.
I loved when we were at school and you'd always say, Gano's the guy. He's the guy, man.
Guy.
Oh,
Hope
jeez.
Joe would double down on it too.
Yeah.
He's the only one who's successful on this team.
Oh, geez. You know, and obviously, I don't know if you mentioned it while I stepped away, but the loss of Saquon is obviously never going to help a dang thing.
No, it's not. And,
not that he would have really done all that much last night with how the game was going, but he'd give you something.
But yeah, maybe he breaks a couple plays. Maybe he, if anything, if nothing, he brings a focus that you have to prepare for on defense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's enough. And the Seahawks defense has not been very good. Ultimately, they've given up 30 points at least once to the Lions. And then they gave up 27 last week to the Panthers, who are the 0-4 second worst team in the NFL. So we assumed that the Giants would at least have a chance to put the ball down the field. And every chance that they had, they went for it on 4th and 1, didn't get it. And then Daniel Jones throws the 97-yard interception for a pick 6, which he can't do. You just can't do in that scenario. So,
not to add salt to the wound, but the Seahawks only had 5 sacks going into last night's game.
Right.
I cannot remember a game with that many sacks by one.
Well, funny enough, there's only been one with that many before. It tied for the most of all time in a single game. That is not a fun thing. That was Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll, the Legion of Boom. Pete Carroll, that was the most sacks he's ever had in a single game.
Right.
Yeah, I did not like seeing him prance around the field all last night.
My grandfather hates Pete Carroll.
He's smacking his gum.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Antonio, it's tough. I mean, it's a long season ahead, and it's been
one last thought. I mean, we were
weeks.
talking how Daniel Jones kind of like, is he the man or not? But you know what? He's going to get injured. If they keep beating on him like this, he's going to go down bad. It's just a matter of time.
I'm surprised he has not been injured yet.
He might even be. I don't even know.
I mean, that's true. He might be.
There was no point in keeping him in that game.
That's the other thing we were talking about. Is like it was like a similar thing as Mac, where it was like the Patriots finally were just like, all right, dude, you got to come out. Where it's like same thing for him. I don't know, but
all right. Well, we love football, and we're still going to watch next week.
That's what we like to hear. That's what we like to hear. Any given Sunday.
A month and 3 days until UConn basketball is back, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, baby. Yeah,
excellent.
Baby.
All right, Antonio. Appreciate it, my friend.
Thank you for joining, brother. Thank you. Yeah, it's Hey, Matt. What did your softball league team start at this year?
What
was that regular season record? What was that regular season record?
George Marinopoulos, who is my coworker, sits a couple cues behind me. He was on our softball team, and he's a Dolphins fan, so he felt a little bit of pain this week. And he goes, "Just remember what the softball team did. We went 1-9 in the regular season, got outscored by a negative 99 run differential, and we went 3-0 in the playoffs."
But
Unfortunately, unlike men's softball, not everyone makes the playoffs. But I love the optimism.
yeah,
Got to have optimism. Yeah. No, we're not going to be like our softball team. Our O-line is the worst I've ever seen. It's been bad. It's been really bad.
This is a really bad offensive, like very, very, very bad offensive line.
Yeah, and it obviously hurts. John Michael Schmitz gets hurt in the beginning of the game, and like he hasn't been great, but he's been decent enough at center, and like we need him to grow, but like there's no shot he's going to grow with this offensive line. And if he gets hurt, and then Evan Neal is potentially, I don't want to say BUST, but like he is
not quite. Don't forget, Andrew Thomas took a solid 2 years to get to his potential.
I mean, that's true. Yeah. So we'll give him some more time. But I mean, Josh Azudu on the left side is just a trash. He's not an
NFL offensive lineman. Unfortunately, he should not be in that position.
No.
Where's Matt
absolutely
Pert?
not. Matt Pert's there. He just is probably worse. So they don't play him.
It's fair. It's fair. Being the star right tackle of the UConn football team for its absolute worst 4-year stretch, probably not a great point to have.
No, I mean he comes in on like jumbo packages, but we tried him at right tackle. Remember when he played against Von Miller 2 years ago in the opener?
I absolutely do.
Yeah, so we're not down for that test trial again. But I did see a funny tweet that someone said, this offensive line looks like this offensive line makes Eric Flowers look like a Giants Ring of Honor candidate, which is true. Funny thing today, we did sign Justin Pugh to the practice squad. A little throwback for anyone who remembers him. I don't know what he's going to do. We just really need depth because we have no offensive linemen. They're all getting hurt too. All right, I'm done talking about the Giants. They're terrible. They're playing the Dolphins next week. They're playing the Bills the week after. It's going to be very disappointing and terrible for us. It's not a good schedule.
Jesus.
Chiefs, Ravens, Bills, Bucks, Lions, Seahawks, and Cowboys all at 3-1. I guess maybe you could say the most surprising one out of those 6 or 7 is the Buccaneers, who are putting together an interesting season.
A very interesting one. Baker Mayfield led Buccaneers. We like to see it, do we? I don't know. Who frickin' knows at this point? That's just a weird one. Their defense is playing good. Wow, Scott is blowing up the chat right now.
All right, let's see what's Scott saying.
Well, so Scott, oh wow, 3 weeks till it's real hockey season. He said to Hark. Matt forgot
Jake the banner on Saturday. Come on now, Scott.
Scott, they're putting up the banner on Saturday. It's real time. Matt forgot Jake from State Farm at the link with Miss Kelsey. Blah blah blah. Olivia Cuppa has crabs.
Jesus. Oh, Scott.
Scott.
Yeah.
First home game, October 22nd. First 1:00 game.
Yeah. Against the Commanders. That's insane. Yeah, last pick 6 was a total misread. I have the film.
Of course you have the film.
Yeah, Scott was in attendance last night. Unfortunately, Scott can't join us because he's getting hand surgery in a few days. We wish him the best of luck and hope that he gets back in due time. Scott. But yeah, it's been bad. So
yeah, unfortunately, yes. Well, in terms of this list of 3-1 teams, yes, the Buccaneers pop out. They are definitely an intriguing candidate to go far. They have a very weak division. The Saints, who we thought originally would be the best team in that division, have been playing poorly, and the rest of it is also not going well with the Falcons at 2-2. Panthers look like their season might already be a wash at 0-4. You have a lot of division winners here. You got the teams that are probably going to win their divisions. These are I know I wrote this down, but these are all probably the contenders. The Bucks might be pretending a little bit, and we'll see what Seattle turns out like. But
yeah, I was going to say, I think those two teams, I mean, obviously Seattle has played well enough to win 3 games this season, but I mean, the Giants make anyone look like the 85 Bears. So I don't know. We don't know exactly until they hit their true schedule if the Seahawks are really going to be all that great. So we will find out.
we will.
Clear Super Bowl favorites. I don't know if there is clear, but there are definitely leading candidates for sure.
Right now, I can only see a path to 5 teams winning the Super Bowl. Eagles, Niners, Chiefs, Bills, Cowboys. Those are my 5 teams. I think they're the only ones with complete enough rosters to make it all the way. Only ones that have avoided enough of the injury bug early on to make it all the way. And they're the best 5 rosters in the league, frankly.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, it does come down to your roster and how much depth you can provide as we go farther and farther into the season with injuries and such. So, yeah, I agree with that. I mean, those were kind of the best teams last year for the most part. I guess the Bengals were in there as well. But the Bengals have not nearly been good enough for us to say they're even anywhere close to contending. So, yeah,
No.
I think that's it. Hark, do you have any other opinions on this list?
I mean, I feel like purely because the amount of points the Dolphins can put up if they're playing well, I feel like they still need to put somewhere up there. But I think it also, if they win the AFC East, it'll make a huge difference if they do. So they'll be able to have at least 1 home game, maybe 2. I don't know. I think that they're the only other team that came to mind on that list, at least, just because of the ability their offense does have to be extremely explosive. But obviously, we saw this weekend their defense is very shaky. So,
yeah, and I think when Tua gets put in uncomfortable positions, and his receivers are a little bit locked down, it's tough, and it's a tough task to lock any of those weapons down at all. But the Bills did a very nice job of that. Kind of gave the blueprint on how you can do it. And I think the Bills and their home atmosphere, I think, is a good point to bring up as well, because the Dolphins have really never been able to win there with Tua. And even with, arguably their best roster this season. So I think if they want a good chance of getting to the Super Bowl, I think they need home field advantage, at least, a higher seed for the division, at least for the wild card round. So we will see. We talked about the Bills. Allen was ridiculous. 320, 21 of 25, 4 touchdowns, and a rushing touchdown as well. So 5 touchdowns altogether with 0 turnovers. And Stephon Diggs, 6 catches, 120, and 3 touchdowns. They're rolling. And I mean, after week 1, week 1 overreactions, one of the ones we had was Josh Allen's got to figure it out. And week after week, he's been able to figure it out tremendously.
Absolutely. He's improved every week. This was his piece de resistance this week. He really balled out and was ready for this game. It's good to see. And it's really good to see the connection with him and Diggs lighting up again, especially against not one of the top defenses, but a better defense in the Dolphins. I love the Bills, man. I just love the energy they play with. The energy they bring to the field every Sunday is just unmatched. And I want to see him go far, but they need to play like this every week.
Yes, they do. And I think the Dolphins and all the hype around them brought a lot out in this Bills team and Bills defense. I mean, Josh Allen, you couldn't have been more perfect than what he did on Sunday. So, I mean, that's definitely going to be hard to replicate in general. But I think he's leading the MVP odds at the moment.
Josh Allen is?
Yeah, I believe so.
Really?
I think he's plus 350 right now.
Interesting.
After last week. So, I mean, every year we've said, like, Josh Allen has a chance to be an MVP type player, has a chance to win the MVP. And each year something has happened. Either he's gotten hurt or they've had a lull in the middle of the season. And I mean, this team won 13 games last year and they're already 3-1. So just got to keep going for Bills fans.
Yeah, man.
Huge fantasy weeks from all the top dogs. We talked about McCaffrey, massive week, 4 touchdowns, 178 all-purpose yards. A.J. Brown finally got a good week, 9 receptions, 175 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Nico Collins, wide receiver from Houston, is becoming a big target for C.J. Stroud. 7 receptions, 168 yards, and 2 touchdowns. David Montgomery had a great week with 3 touchdowns on the ground. And then Los Angeles Rams wide receiver Puka Nacua, another huge monster week. I mean, as long as Matt Stafford, I mean, I know he's not healthy now, but they are going to get back Cooper Kupp in this week 5 matchup. I mean, the two of them, it just seems like if Stafford can get the ball to them, they're going to be dominant.
10 receptions, 120 yards each every game if it goes like this.
Absolutely.
So I have not seen the Rams play a single down this year. Do they play the same position? Like, will they be this? Are they?
Yeah, like Puka does exactly what Cooper Kupp does. Yeah.
Yeah.
Except the thing is we've seen Tutu Atwell the past couple of weeks had great success as that number 2 receiver and get high volume. And then in past years, the Robert Woods role, for next to Cooper Kupp has been what McVay has stuck it out as. So there might be a drop off in production here, and Puka might still be the one for a couple of weeks while Cooper Kupp gets rolling into his health, but this could be just 2 top dogs, like I said, 8 to 10 receptions, 80 to 100 yards a game, just racking up those first downs. That's what the Rams love to do.
Yeah. Chain eaters. That's what they are.
Chain eaters. I like it.
They eat the chains, man. They just get first down after first down, and they just wear you out. And it would be crazy if the Rams somehow get another Cooper Kupp in this scenario.
That'd be wild.
He's looking really great. We talked about Nico Collins. I want to touch on the Houston Texans because the Houston Texans have not been touched on in previous seasons, but the Houston Texans are 2-2. Rookie C.J. Stroud is cooking it up in Houston and is doing really well. He's 4th in the NFL in passing yards and is still yet to throw an interception with another 300-yard passing game. I mean, Luigi, Harkins, this team is good. I mean, they played really well and they've beaten down. I mean, they just destroyed the Steelers.
Bad. Beat the crap out of them. And you know what's even cooler? I was looking at their schedule the other night when I was texting you guys about the Texans, I think maybe Sunday night. If you look at this schedule for this team, there is a lot of gettable games. I mean, they play the Falcons, Saints, Panthers. They got their whole divisional and the Bucks. They go through all of the NFC South. So that's their matchup this year is the NFC South. And they have a bye in between all that. And then you got Bengals, Cardinals, Jaguars, Broncos, Jets, Titans, Browns, Titans again, and the Colts. This is not a schedule for any good team. This is a schedule for a bad team, but this is a team that can produce and put up wins with this schedule for sure. C.J. Stroud looks like the absolute guy. And you know what? Puka Nacua would probably be the clear-cut favorite for Offensive Player of the Year had Stroud not started off as hot as he is starting.
Yeah, I mean, Offensive Rookie of the Year is definitely in the window for him. I mean, he's been great. I mean, we haven't seen I forget what the stat was, but isn't he like the first quarterback ever to have like 4 300-yard passing games and no turnovers in his first 4 games or something like that? Or maybe it's even just turnovers. It's
just the turnovers. He because I think it was Cam Newton had the most yards in his first 4 games just in general, but no one's had this few turnovers to start a career.
Yeah, I think he just passed Brady with his past weeks. I think Brady had the most. Now, I don't know how many games it was, but I think just for passing yards without an interception to start a career, he's past Brady, which was number 1, I think. But yeah, no, he's been insane, which is kind of crazy because obviously he was a very high draft pick, but so I remember stories from when they would have their pro days, his pro day specifically, I think they were all talking about like, oh, we don't really care about him, we care about the wide receivers or something like that.
Yeah, they were saying
actually shown that it wasn't just his wide receivers.
Yeah, cool. I think they were saying the best player on the field was Marvin Harrison Jr. at that time, and He's a dog. You know what? I also saw that like every Monday or Tuesday night, he hosts the whole team at his house for dinner. He just loves being a part of the team, being a part of the group, and I love to hear that, man. I love that D'Amico Ryans might have found a dog and might have found his way to keep his job for a long period of time. We love the Niners, man.
Yeah, quite exciting for
it.
D'Amico Ryans. I mean, people weren't as sure if they should have taken CJ Stroud at 2. I mean, I personally thought he was very good in college, and maybe he wasn't the number 1 quarterback to be selected. Obviously, Bryce Young kind of earned that with all of his success and good play at Alabama. But I mean, he's right up there now. And obviously, Bryce Young has been a little bit injured this season. But I mean, with coming into 2 bad teams in the Panthers and the Texans, I mean, CJ Stroud has just run with it. And it's fantastic to see. It's great for D'Amico Ryans and Texans fans because they've been searching kind of for that quarterback. They had Davis Mills for a couple seasons, and that wasn't very fun. I mean, we thought maybe he wasn't the issue, but I mean, maybe he was the issue because CJ Stroud is very good and he's proven to be successful with not really all of that much. I mean, Nico Collins is good, but like they still have a lot of holes that they need to fix in the coming years. So it's exciting.
It is very exciting. Good time to be a Texans fan for sure.
Absolutely. So go ahead, Eric.
Jesus Christ, what's his name? Will Anderson. How is he then?
I think he only has a sack and a half.
Okay.
Nothing too crazy, but that's still pretty good as a rookie starting out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this defense as a whole, I mean, they only gave up 6 points last week, and they gave up only 17 to the Jaguars. And yeah, I mean, these last 2 games, I know they started 0-2, but these last 2 games, they've just been proven to be very solid.
Yeah.
And as Luigi said, like their schedule is not all that hard because obviously they are in the AFC South and then they play the NFC South, who's not very good.
Yeah.
So we'll see what the Texans can do. All right. Does one of you want to text Zach and see if he wants to join the picks? We'll get into one more topic before we go into the picks.
Yeah.
Give him some time. Let's talk about the Chicago Bears fiasco. They lost 31-28 in the Broncos' huge comeback win. They were up 28-7 in the third quarter. Fields, though, had a fantastic game. He went 28 of 35 with 335 yards, 4 touchdowns, a late interception, and a late unfortunate fumble that went to a touchdown. 3.5 quarters of football and still lost. The Bears right now have the top 2 picks in the NFL. They, for the draft through 4 games, they have their own pick as number 1, and then they have the Carolina Panthers pick as number 2. So I mean, this has been buzz more than any of like do the Vikings trade Kirk Cousins? Do they trade Justin Jefferson? Because all of that could be smoke, but it's like Justin Fields through 3 games was really bad. And the consensus was like, if you get the number 1 pick, you have to take Caleb Williams. And then he shows out in this game. Yes, it's against the Broncos, but I mean, what do you do? Do you take Caleb Williams with the first pick? Like, I mean, obviously we need to see a lot more season left, but I mean, I don't specifically personally have a huge take on this because I need to see more, but I mean, I feel like you'd still lean in the direction of taking Caleb Williams if he's on the board.
It might just be the way to go. Also, quickly, shout out CJ Stroud. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, CJ Stroud.
Weirdly, his birthday today. Funny enough. Hark, what do you think, man?
I also think there's a very real, like, decent chance that if the Bears are there and they're not going to make any moves to help him around him, that Caleb Williams might not come out. Like, if that's definitely going to happen. Because he's talked about it. He's now making a ton of money in college that he can kind of sit a year. But, I mean, obviously there's a lot more money to be made in the NFL, but I think that's a very real question when it comes to the Bears because they said outwardly if it's a bad organization, they're not going to go out. They're in, meaning his dad said it, basically.
But so many guys have threatened that since 2004. We've seen that threatened over and over. But you're right. NIL brings a whole different level.
Anyone's made that amount of money.
NIL brings a whole different level. I don't know, man.
I don't know. I feel like Caleb Williams is probably just going to get bored of college, to be honest with you, just dominating and scoring 50 points a week.
Yeah, man.
I don't know. I think if you're the Bears, you have to take him though. He's so good, like so good. And I mean, he probably, I don't know. I think he'll be able to do more than Justin Fields will in that offense.
So, okay, so we get to week 17. The Bears have the number 1 and number 2 pick. They trade away Justin Fields. They obtain another first-round pick and a future first, because that's probably what Fields is worth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They could rebuild off that.
Yeah,
No, they could. Yeah.
They kill Williams, Marvin Harrison, and then get an offensive lineman.
Or that number 1 pick's worth more than Justin Fields.
Yeah.
So is that number 2 pick.
Yeah.
Do you obtain 6 first-round picks and then try to build on that? If you're a GM, you got to think. Now, Caleb Williams is a certified superstar. We all know it. Justin Fields has superstar potential. We know that as well. Played fantastic this weekend. Fantastic. Would it be worth it to stick it out if you could rebuild a team rather than, hey, let's get the 2 best guys in the draft and hope that we could build enough? Or get a guarantee that you're going to be able to build? Because you don't necessarily need to use those 6 first-round picks on 6 guys. You could move 2 of them to get a player, another 2 to get a player, another 2 to get a player. Move 1 of them, get a solid player. Move 1 of them, get a solid player. Take a solid player. I am more of the opportunistic here with the Justin Fields play. Mm-hmm. I like the plethora of picks that you could get. Now, do I think they should keep one of those picks and draft Marvin Harrison? Yes, I do. Absolutely. He is also a bona fide star. But using both of them, I do not think should be their number 1 option, especially using one of them as a quarterback, unless you're going to go fully all in and trade Fields and hope you could get something out of them. I don't know. That's my thought. That's polls. If I'm putting myself into the mind of the Ryan Poles, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, they'd have to be 100% in on Caleb Williams and 100% that they could never win with Justin Fields. Exactly. So I think they were contemplating that, honestly, this year because they had the number 1 pick. And then they were like, you know what? We'll give him 1 more year. And, I mean, through 3 games, he was not good. So, and then obviously 4, he's been he had a great game on Sunday other than the turnovers. But, I mean, a lot of it can be attested to the offensive line. And obviously with a lot more picks, they can do better. But
this is what? They have to pay Fields in 2 years?
Yeah, because of the 5th-year option and everything. So
they technically do have 2 years if they go this draft and then 1 more draft. And then obviously they'd like to have a better idea about it before that. But if they have to, they do still have 2 more years with him where they're not paying him a ton of money.
Yeah, that's true. Zach, 5-second thought. Hello, Zach. Welcome.
Oh, hi. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I was having a hard time.
5-second thought. Do the Bears get rid of Justin Fields and draft Caleb Williams? Yes or no?
Yeah, they probably should do that.
Okay.
I only use 2. I only use 2 of my 5 seconds. So do I get a rebate?
Yeah, you can get 5 seconds now.
He can't make reads, and he doesn't throw to open guys, and they should can him. That was my 5 seconds.
Okay. All right, good. Yeah, well, we were touching on the Broncos game, Zach. Congratulations. Good win. Way to go. Thanks. Not 0-4.
Yeah.
It was a good comeback.
Yeah. Yep. I'm definitely proud of what happened. That's for sure. proud. I'm a proud papa.
Of Sean Payton and Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
All right. Shall we get into the picks here?
I believe so.
All right. Luigi took over me in the records, unfortunately, by 1 game, 44-20. Luigi is I'm 43-21. Eric in 3rd place at 38-26. And then Zach back in 4th place there at 37-27. But still only 7 games out.
Only
so
7
we'll see.
Through 4 weeks. Not,
Hey, I made up 3 games this week, so anything is possible.
Did you?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was down 2 to Matt last week, and I took him over by 3.
Yeah, it wasn't good. Giants were one of them. Colts were another one, and Packers. Those are the 3 ones I lost to you. Quite unfortunate. All right, week 5 picks. Thursday Night Football. Bears 0-4 at the Commanders 2-2. 6-point favorites to the Commanders. Yeah, I mean, we just talked about how the Bears have a kind of a dilemma here. Not quite yet. They still have a lot of season to play. But I think the Commanders have done well enough to win this game as 6-point favorites. So I'm taking Washington.
I'm going to take Washington too. Sam Howell's actually played better than I was expecting. And things seem to be moving in the right direction for them. And the Bears are the worst.
The Bears are the worst. Yeah, and I think it's as simple as that. So I'm going to go Washington here.
Yeah.
Guys, what are we doing in this document?
I
right
know.
now?
Zach did that. I think Zach's doing it.
Am I destroying this?
No, I don't think.
Because every time I'm good. All right. So Washington across the board. London once again.
London
At 9:30 a.m. on Sunday morning. Jaguars back-to-back weeks in London got a win we didn't mention over the Falcons 23-7 in London.
Those Toy Story characters are wild.
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
That was so weird.
The Bijan Juke.
That was
Jaguars are 2-2 at the Bills, technically in London, 3-1, 5.5-point favorites to Buffalo. Buffalo coming off a really good game, but the Jags being out there 2 weeks might help them, but I'm still going to take the Bills and Josh Allen. Let's go. Let's ride with Buffalo here.
Yeah, it was a weird game. Okay, I'm going to take Buffalo too.
Gonna take the home Jaguars.
You psychopath.
They're right at home in London. They know they're not worried. They've got their jet lag out of the way. They're chilling.
Oh,
Eric making a separation.
If you get that one
pick
over us, I'm going to be so upset.
I mean, what was it? 2 years ago in Jacksonville, they lost like 9-6 or something like that. The Bills.
Yeah, the Josh Allen game.
Yes. All right, so 3 Buffalo, 1 Jaguars, 1:00 on Sunday. Panthers 0-4 at the Lions, 3-1, 9.5-point favorites to the Detroit Lions. I'm taking Detroit here.
Yeah, give me Detroit. 4-1 is going to be a hot start for these guys.
Yeah, man. Back on the Detroit train.
Yes, Detroit.
Detroit across the board. 1:00 Ravens, 3-1, 4-point favorites at the Steelers, 2-2. Steelers offense, I mean, until they figure it out, I don't feel confident anymore in taking them. I mean, I think their defense is good, but Lamar's been very good so far this season, so I'm going to take the Ravens.
I'm going to take the Baltimore Ronnies and go with the Lamar Jackson and the former Joe Flacco-led team.
Flacco is crazy.
They're lucky Flacco's not leading this team.
Yeah, when he said the other teams in the division aren't smart enough to sign Joe Flacco and be automatic contenders. The only way they're going to take it from us. They're not smart enough to do that.
So 2 Baltimore for me and Zach.
I go Pittsburgh. I think they need a bounce back week. Mike Tomlin's going to get on their ass at home. Should be good.
All right.
This to me is one of those classic Baltimore flop games that we see at least 3 times a year. I don't want to pick Pittsburgh.
They played so bad.
They're so bad. And yeah, I'm going to have to go Baltimore because the injuries. I don't want to go Baltimore. On Hark, this one I won't be mad if you get over us.
All right. Eric taking another separation pick with Pittsburgh over Baltimore. 1:00, the New York Football Terrible Giants against the Dolphins, 1-3 against 3-1, 11-point favorites to the Dolphins. Biggest spread on the board this week. They're going to be bad, and they are going to be hopefully not worse than this week, but potentially, because it is going to be 100 degrees down there in Miami. They're not going to be prepared for that. And this team is just going nowhere in a positive direction. So I'm taking the Dolphins.
Yeah, me too. This is a bloodbath.
Man, I feel bad, Matt, but I'm so not touching the Giants.
Oh, no, you can't do that.
No. I just feel bad in general. Like this week, it was a no-brainer. But it's been a rough slide for you, man. I wanted so much more out of this team, and I know you did too. It's upsetting.
Yeah, I mean, it might still be there, but not this week and not next week. So,
And starting 1-6 is not good. Or 1-5, rather.
1-5.
Sorry.
It's still not
Sorry,
good.
you might get there too, but we're not going to guarantee that one yet. I'm going with Miami here. Probably a good bounce back game. This is the only double-digit spread of the week too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like Miami. I think it's easy.
Dolphins across the board, 1:00. Saints 2-2 at the Patriots, 1-3, 1.5 point favorites to the Patriots. This is a weird game. I mean, I'm going to take New England because I like them at home, and I don't think that Derek Carr is fully healthy, and he's kind of forcing it right now to play because they didn't play all that well last week. So, yeah, I'm going to take New England.
Eric, you go first.
Yeah, I like New England really for no reason other than that I think they're better than I think Belichick can beat an injured Derek Carr is basically what I'm saying. That's about it.
The only reason I'm hesitant on this pick is because of how bad the loss was last week, and it just smells like Belichick cooking something up.
But it was also against such a gross team.
Yeah.
This team is not the Dallas Cowboys.
You know what?
I want you to do it before me.
Yeah, I'll do it, buddy. Separation time. Taking New Orleans. I don't love it. I don't hate it. I don't have many words other than the fact that these are both bad teams.
I'm going to do it with you so you're not alone. I feel like that accurately represents.
Yeah, the game
this
should
should
be a
go.
split decision here. No one wins, really.
Yeah, I mean, it's just tough. I mean, the Pats also did just lose their two best defensive players, but I'm hoping that Bill can scheme something up at home. So that's really my only hope. 1:00 Texans 2-2 at the Falcons 2-2, 2.5 point favorites to the Falcons. We were talking about how the Texans have been very good in their last two games. Falcons just lost a brutal one in London against the Jaguars. I like Houston again. I mean, even though they're 2.5 point favorites, I'm not sure why Desmond Ridder is not very good. I think this should be closer to a pick 'em if anything. And that's why I'm going to go with Houston.
Sometimes there's little moments in life that stick with you. And there's one from when we were drafting our fantasy football league. When I made fun of Nico Collins, I suggested Enrique take him. And Luigi said, hey, don't make fun of Nico Collins. Well, I shouldn't have made fun of Nico Collins. He's actually balling out. Atlanta's playing pretty well too. Arthur Smith's a pretty good coach, turns out. And I'm just going to take them at home.
Unfortunately, to that story, I did not get the opportunity to draft Nico Collins. He was picked just like a lot of the other guys that I really wanted, one pick before me by either Enz or Kupcho, and it really hurt me internally every single time. But I think Houston has a better quarterback, and I like when a quarterback is better in a matchup where the team kind of sucks on both sides. I'm taking Houston.
Sounded like John F. Kennedy there.
That was the goal.
Yeah, I like that reasoning, Luigi. I'm gonna agree with you and go with Houston.
All right.
He's also like lankier than I thought. I don't know why I thought he was going to be a short little guy, and then I watched his highlights. He's like tall and skinny. So
Kind of
cool.
6'3" and just a freak of an athlete, low-key.
Yeah, I was picturing like 5'10" max.
Yeah, no, he's got it on him. He's got it on him.
All right, so Zach takes a separation pick with the Falcons. Last 1:00 game, Titans 2-2 at the Colts 2-2, 1 point favorites to the Colts. I like what the Colts have been doing, but they put themselves in a hole and they were lucky to get out of it last week. The Titans played very well, very much better than they did the last couple of weeks. Derrick Henry finally got it going on the ground. So I'm going to ride with the Titans on the road here in Indianapolis.
You're right. They did put themselves in a hole and got out of it. But like they're playing better than people thought, and like the win against the Ravens, even with Gardner Minshew, was really big. And I think this team is better than people think. I think Anthony Richardson is way better than I thought. So I'm going to go ahead and take Indianapolis.
And I'm going to switch back to the Titans route. They just routed the Bengals this week.
That's also true.
Beat down 27-3. Bengals have not been promising at all because of injuries, but I think it's enough to beat the Titans at home or beat the Colts away. Rather, I don't know. I don't like this game at all.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't really like
Take
it.
the under.
Yeah, Colts in the under.
Yeah, an ugly AFC South game here. Last 1 o'clock. 405 Bengals 1-3, 3-point favorites at the Cardinals 1-3. This is a weird game. It's like I don't want to get too in depth and too deep myself in the whole of like the Bengals being bad and I shouldn't take them, but I don't really want to take them this week. And I do think that the Cardinals have been competitive every week, surprisingly, other than I guess last week. But for the majority of the game against the 49ers, like Dobbs looked good.
Yeah.
So they don't like winning at home, which is kind of straying me away from taking that at home. But I'm going to take a shot. I'll take the Cardinals.
They do have beef with home wins. I forgot about this.
I forgot about this as well.
It shouldn't be this hard to pick this game. The Bengals need to figure this out.
No, this game should have been a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Hark.
This should be what is it Chris Long say? The William Henry Harrison game? It's going to be dead. It's going to be dead right after it starts.
When they were naming presidents at the games.
Yeah. It should have been that.
I think I'm going to go with Arizona. I think Bengals are just too banged up to win a football game right now. But I don't know. This game's so hard.
It's a tough one.
You guys have given me the perfect opportunity to take a very safe separation pick here.
What are you going to do?
And I'm going to do it. They were in the AFC Championship. They were in the Super Bowl. This will be the tune-up game that the Cincinnati Bengals need to get their season back on track. Mark my words.
You just convinced yourself that about a half a second ago. So
you're damn right I did.
Yeah, I mean, I hope for their sake that they do. I'm also interested to see what the Cardinals do because I think they've been competitive. So we'll figure it out on Sunday afternoon. 405 Eagles 4-0, 4.5-point favorites at the Rams 2-2. This is a tough one. Eagles have been skating by, but I mean, the Rams are getting Cooper Kupp, but with a banged up Matt Stafford, I don't think much of that matters. So I'm going to take the Eagles on the road.
I am going to take the Rams. The Eagles have been playing well, but like you said, they've been getting out a lot of close games, and it's been weird on offense. The Rams have looked very impressive compared to what we expected from them, and they are getting Cooper Kupp back. Even with a hurt Matt Stafford, they still got Puka, Nakua, and Cooper Kupp. And this is going to be the first time the Eagles lose, I think, against a Rams team that's looking to impress at home.
Zach, I sure hope your pick comes true. Do I think it will? No, I'm picking the Eagles. I would love to see them lose, but I'm going to take the Eagles. Better roster. They
You
haven't
just
been that
have beef with the
impressive.
Eagles forever.
No,
from
I
this
just
past
I want the
postseason.
49ers to be the number one seed in the entire league, the only
Okay.
undefeated team, and the team no one will touch. That's what I want. That's why I want the Eagles to lose. Even though some people seem to think that the Chiefs are doing the 2007 Patriots in reverse. I've seen that online is they're going to lose the first game and then win out from there all the way through the Super Bowl. So instead of losing the Super Bowl, they win out after. I don't like that either. But I do kind of like the Eagles to win this week.
So this is the Julius Caesar game of the week. Then you're hoping to kill the top dog. All right. Very nice.
All right, Eric, who are you taking?
I'm going to go with the Eagles as well on that note. I think the Eagles are just a better team. And maybe this will be the week that they actually win a game by a lot of points, but who knows?
Yeah, that's kind of what I was leaning towards. It's like they haven't been that impressive, but like the offense is starting to come more together. Like AJ Brown finally had a dominant week last week. So, they just need to get their pieces together. And I think they're going to like go on a run here. I mean, I took them last year until they lost, so I think I'm just going to do it again until they prove me wrong. Chiefs 425, 3-1, 5-point favorites at the Vikings 1-3. I mean, this is a big game for the Vikings to kind of upright their season, but it just doesn't seem likely with the way that the Chiefs have been playing, in my opinion. So I'm going to take the Chiefs.
KC good, Minnesota bad, Kansas City Chiefs.
Facts.
Yeah.
What's
Taking
Earl
the
Smola
Chiefs.
thinking? Should they trade Kirk Cousins?
No, he loves Kirk Cousins. It's his favorite. It's his favorite guy.
Yeah, I feel like that's a lot of the fan base.
It's
Yeah.
just like so hard to trade him. He hasn't done anything wrong.
Yeah, he's actually been very good.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, he sends me like these stats, and he sent me one of his projected stats if he plays for a certain amount more time based on his averages. They're like Hall of Fame numbers minus the Super Bowl, right?
I mean,
So
yeah.
my dad's like, I don't understand. Why can't we just like get players?
I mean, really, it's
Defense
a
is so
defense.
bad.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
so
the defense
bad.
is tough.
And it's just been bad for a while.
Maybe one day.
Sorry, did I cut anyone off? KC?
KC.
All right, Chiefs across the board. Last 425 game, Jets 1-3 at the beloved Denver Broncos 1-3, 2-point favorites to the Broncos. Zach Wilson is clearly an up and above better than Patrick Mahomes. So I'm going to have to ride with the New York Jets on the road here.
There's a mistake. I want to take a little Pickerton and go ahead and say that Denver's here to play. We're back. We're back. Last week we hid Mims from everybody. We didn't want anybody to know about Marvin Mims. It was the Sutton show. And now we're gonna pull him back out and smack the Jets around at home. That's my delusional take.
Have you seen the comments in parentheses? I am delusional.
Yes.
After they make a hot take.
Oh,
That's me.
I'm gonna reluctantly take the Jets. I don't know. This is another ugly football game that I don't want to watch. This could end up being like 6-3. Literally, could end up being 6-3.
Yeah.
Russell Wilson is somehow second in the NFL in passing touchdowns.
Bro, he's
Yeah,
playing better.
9-2 touchdown interception ratio. I saw that today.
It's actually pretty freaking good.
I was actually so hyped for the first few minutes of the Dolphins game because we scored back on them and I was like, we're here to play. And then, that went away pretty quick.
Yeah, you said that.
And then the
Meanwhile,
Ferrari
Tyreek
left
Hill's-
a lot.
Yeah, Tyreek Hill scored in 60 seconds.
Yes. Well, I turned the game on after that. I was like, how is this possible? What did I miss already? Just how it started. Anyway.
Oh, my God.
Uh,
Eric, you taking the Jets?
Yeah, I'm taking the Jets. As we've already established, Zach Wilson is better than Patrick Mahomes, and Patrick Mahomes owns the Broncos. So that's all you need to know.
That's all you need to know. Transitive properties, baby.
Transitive properties, what Eric's taking out there. Nice. All right, Zach takes a separation pick with his Broncos. Sunday Night Football, 8:20. Cowboys 3-1 at the 49ers, 4-0. 3.5 point favorites to the 49ers. Been picking San Fran for a while now. I don't feel like I should stop now, especially against the Cowboys and on the road for the Cowboys. I think the 49ers, I think it'll be close, but I'm going to take the 49ers at home.
The Kim Jong-un game as the 49ers look for total control. The 49ers seek for sole control.
Where did that come from?
And I'm going to take the 49ers to do it as well.
Oh, my gosh.
At home against the Broncos.
Oh, the Kim Jong-un.
That's awesome.
Oh, God. Oh, shoot.
That's my pick.
We've been doing this show for 4 years. I think I've picked the 49ers every single week. I'm not turning my back against them today, tomorrow, or any day for that matter. Give me the Niners in the Kim Jong-un game.
Oh, my God.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm also going to take the Niners. I think they're the best team in football. So just going to keep riding them.
Nice.
So Niners across the board, they will win the nuclear warhead trophy this week. And we will see going forward. Monday Night Football, 8:15, Packers 2-2, 2.5-point favorites. Add the Raiders 1-3. I know we didn't get an update on Jimmy G's injuries. Is Aiden O'Connell slated to start this game? Do we know?
I don't think it matters.
Yeah.
Does it though?
No. But is he slated to start? No. Garoppolo's supposed to be back.
Okay.
I mean, that guy's
Alright.
definitely better than the other guy. Boy, that guy stinks.
Got sacked 6 times by one guy named Khalil
Dude,
Mack.
Yeah, Khalil Mack showed that.
Don't you
guy
think the
that-
Raiders would have
long
loved
hair.
to have a guy like that?
Yeah, it'd
Yeah.
be crazy to have Khalil Mack on that team, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Max
sometimes
Crosby and Khalil
people get
Mack.
lucky in the draft, and some people fall to certain teams. And
Imagine
teams
having
don't get
Max
as lucky.
Crosby and Khalil Mack on the same roster. That'd be wild. Never
That would
could
be
see that
crazy.
happening.
No.
whenever I watch a Raiders game, I find myself watching him a lot because nothing else is worth paying attention to. And that guy is freaking disgusting. He's
Crosby.
so long, dude.
Crosby's wild. He's wild.
Yeah, he's good. All right, Zach, who are you taking here?
I'm gonna take the Packers. I hate the Raiders always, and they suck, which makes me happy. And I hope they lose this week.
All right. Did you already go, Luigi?
Yeah.
I'm gonna take Green Bay as well. I took them last week on primetime, and I didn't realize it was Jordan Love's first primetime start. It's now his second primetime start, so I like it better.
All right. Fair.
Okay.
Super long week, too. 11 days.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it makes sense to take a separation pick here. So yeah, I'll ride with the Green Bay Packers on the road. I like what they've done. I do like Jordan Love a lot. So hopefully they get a bounce back here after that tough Lions game. So those are the picks for week 5. The bye teams are the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Cleveland Browns, the Los Angeles Chargers, and the Seattle Seahawks. So we're already in bye season, which is pretty crazy. 4 teams not playing. So we miss out on 2 games this week. So only 14 games, but an okay slate overall. Well, I'm sure there'll be some surprises, but we'll see. So yeah, appreciate it. 8:43 right now on October 3rd. We will wish Luigi a safe trip to the land of Croatia. He will not be with us next week. So safe travels.
Thank you.
All right. Any final words?
Go Niners.
Sausage soup is a good idea. It's a good thing to make in the fall. I
Okay.
made it today.
Never heard of it, but I believe you. Park, any words?
If you're in the Hamden, New Haven County area, come to Quinnipiac on Saturday night. Promises to be a sick game. And that's all I got.
Promises made. Promises delivered.
I can't believe his mortal lock was the Giants. To
Yeah,
win
we
the
should have
game.
known that was going to not
Should have
happen.
known. Should have known. Great
Oh, well.
separation pick on my end.
Yeah, I mean, oh well, that we're not taking them this week, so don't have to worry about that. But tune into the Kim Jong-un game on Sunday night.
Can't wait.
Until then, we salute you. Goodbye.
Peace.